Hey, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be providing my reactions to Season 7, Episode 1 of Tyler Perry's Sistas. This episode is titled New Beginnings. Before we jump into that, let me touch on what happened at the end of Season 6. If you saw it, you may remember that Andy and Penelope discovered that Gary had been involved with several women, all at the same time that he was involved with both of them. And they did some research and even determined that he had given these women the same engagement ring as they both had. So as the season ended, the ladies were going to confront Gary about this. I was surprised when we got to the season opener. It's 3 months later, but we never saw that confrontation happen. We start off with Danny waking up to a nightmare where she was violently attacked in her parking lot at work. In her very vivid dream, she approaches her car, looking down at her cell phone, of course, only to find that all the windows have been broken out. She steps over the glass, and a male approaches from behind and grabs her. Suddenly, she wakes up next to Tony, and she tells him that she shouldn't have watched scary movies last night or ate that old Thai food. She tried to blow it off, but in her mind, she knows that there is something lurking in the distance. And if you think about it, before Preston left, he said, hopefully, now that he's gone, she'll have somebody to walk her to her car so she'll be safe. So that to me is a sign that we're going to see more of that, and we're going to see what actually happens in that situation. So basically, Tony told Danny she needed to seek some therapy and ended up calling Sabrina to come over and talk to her. Then we switched to Andy's house and the new Jordan. I personally like that older Jordan better. He just seemed like a better fit for me. My first thought was, have we ever seen Andy cook a meal in the history of the show? That seemed odd. And my second thought was, why is she cooking in that fancy dress? Based on what we know about Andy, she would have ordered in. But anyway, the bigger surprise was that she was preparing this meal for a gathering with Penelope and Gary. I was totally shocked by that. Wasn't expecting it at all. I was stuck on that. After Penelope had found out that Gary had been involved with Andy, and so Gary came in and he was being an entire ass. If you saw it or you've seen it before, you know he's an ass anyway. But he was showing his ass in the worst way. And just the fact that they have been both in relationships, I don't understand why they were trying to make this thing work. So pregnant Penelope shows up all hugged up with Gary. And I just figured we missed a lot in those 3 months. We need to go back and see what actually happened during that time. So Andy and Jordan are all hugged up. And then we switch gears to Karen and Pam preparing the new salon to open. Karen is super pregnant, huge, and it looks like she's carrying a basketball very, very low. Brian is suddenly missing and apparently having issues with his wife, according to Pam. I believe we're going to see Brian again. And just by the interaction he had with Karen, something tells me they're going to get together. Zach and Fatima were basically focused on getting custody of his son, who is currently in a foster home. After Sabrina notified Maurice that the bank was not hiring him back, he started an OnlyFans account because, well, he's got to get money some kind of way, right? And I understand he's in the process of suing the bank, so we'll see how that unfolds. Sabrina was able to get her position back at the original bank location that she wanted. Her new beau, Richard, stops by, and they start making out in the office that she just got her job back in. Richard thinks it's a better idea to do it in the car behind the building. Sabrina actually considers it, but decides against it. That whole scene seemed out of character for her, but I guess she was thinking about her history with Calvin. Meanwhile, back at Andy's place, Jordan announces he plans to run for mayor, and Gary immediately sends him a $100,000 campaign donation. Gary jumps up and announces that he needs to drain the dragon and heads toward the bathroom. He tells everybody, well, of course I know where it is. I bought this place for you, Andy. So Andy and Penelope and Jordan are sitting chatting, and they realize that Gary has been gone for quite a while. Penelope gets up to go look for Gary, and guess what he's doing? He's in Andy's closet, masturbating to a pair of her panties. I guess he really meant it when he said he needed to drain the dragon. So now we know who we won't see in the new season. Calvin, who left with a white woman who he just met, according to Maurice. Preston, who left Danny and got married. And Aaron had been gone for some time since Karen dismissed him as her baby daddy. We now know that someone is going to be laid out on a stretcher at some point. Any guesses who that lucky man will be? We saw the shoes. Leave your thoughts and comments in the chat and come back and join me next week for episode 2. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you next week.